me ask you a question. How old are you? Okay, answer it to yourself. How old are you? Add 10 years to your age now. How old will you be 10 years from now? Then ask yourself, do you want to live without seeing revival? Do you want the revival to come at a time when you can't even stand up again? Why can't you give all now? Now. Why can't we dedicate? I want to ask you, when you get to heaven, you sit down with somebody like Apostle Paul, how will you look at his eyes? Apostle Paul didn't even have time for a wedding because he wanted to reach the Gentiles. He had the right to marry like other apostles. He saw the burden before him. He advised himself, I wouldn't want to frustrate somebody's daughter. Which kind of woman will marry me? Apostle Paul. For those of you ladies praying for husband, how many of you will marry a man who leaves the house on Monday? You don't know the next prison they will throw him in because of the gospel. Ladies, am I talking? How many of you can? He leaves the house on Monday. You hear that he has been arrested somewhere. Oh my God. He has been arrested, thrown into jail. Later on they release him. You think he's coming home? He continues preaching. They pick him up again, throw in another jail. Then you hear that finally he's on chains. You see why Paul didn't want to frustrate somebody's daughter. Now, do you know what? It is on the sacrifice and the blood of generations of Christians before us that we can even read the Bible. This Bible we now have, a man called Tyndale was bent, was killed because he was trying to translate the Bible into the language of the common man. So you arrive heaven and you meet Tyndale, who was killed because he wanted you to have a Bible. You arrive heaven, you meet Peter. They wanted to crucify him like Jesus. He said no, they shouldn't crucify him like his Lord. They should crucify him with his head down and his legs up. You meet John, who was thrown into a container of hot boiling oil. He didn't die. They removed him and threw him in the island of Patmos for sea creatures to come and eat him. Instead of dying, he wrote the book of Revelation. How will you look at their eyes? How will you look at their eyes when they sacrifice all? And you needed just to take the baton and make a little effort and win for Christ. But you held the baton too long that Satan and his agents came and overtook you. How are we going? When Jesus said he will wipe away the tears of people, why will people be crying in heaven? Yes. Why will somebody go to heaven and be crying? Let me tell you something. 1 minute in eternity, your life will pass before you. the wasted opportunities will pass before you. Eternity is not an easy experience. And when you go before God, in 1 minute, you will see how you wasted your time, wasted money on nonsense. That is why people will be weeping in heaven. Because they had so much arrows, but they shot only one. Remember the king that had arrows? The prophet told him to open the window and shoot. He shot 3. And the prophet said, if you shot all, you would have just for once and for all destroyed your enemies. We are not saying you are not sacrificing. We are not saying you are not evangelizing. What the Lord is saying is that most of us are aiming too low. What the Lord is saying is that most of us are serving Him with so much laxity. There's so much convenience. We are not shooting all the arrows He has given to us. Total victory comes when people give themselves to the Lord fully. We cannot have victory if we give a portion of our lives to Jesus. To give your life to Jesus is a revolutionary act. Revolution. Have you heard that? To give your life to Jesus is a revolutionary act. It's not a religious act. It is saying you are denying yourself, denying the world, and you become a slave of Jesus Christ. There is no slave that lives for himself. There is no slave that try to please himself but the master.